Salut! French language can be quite odd, I'm sure you know. Today you're going to hear expressions involving cockroaches, rabbits, ants in your legs, drowning a fish, and somehow these are all completely normal things to say in French. Today I'm giving you 7 French animal idioms that make absolutely no sense when translated literally. Here is how it's gonna work. I'll give you the French expression first, on its own. Then I'll translate it literally into English, and trust me, a lot of the times this is not going to help. Then I'll give you a sentence in context, and see if you can figure out the actual meaning of those idioms. Allez, on y va. Here's the first one. Avoir le cafard. Avoir le cafard. Okay, the literal translation, to have the cockroach. To have the cockroach, okay? Let's see it in a sentence. Depuis quelques jours, j'ai le cafard. Depuis quelques jours, j'ai le cafard. So for the past few days, I have the cockroach. The actual meaning of avoir le cafard is to feel down, depressed, or sad. So if a French person says, j'ai le cafard, they're not talking about insects. They're feeling depressed. Ok, la deuxième. Poser un lapin à quelqu'un. Poser un lapin à quelqu'un. Literally, to place a rabbit on someone. Amazing. But what does it mean? Let's see an example sentence. On avait rendez-vous hier et il m'a posé un lapin. On avait rendez-vous hier et il m'a posé un lapin. So the literal translation, we had a rendezvous yesterday and he placed a rabbit on me. Makes no sense whatsoever. The actual meaning of placing a rabbit on someone is to stand someone up. So if your date never arrives, congratulations, you have received a rabbit. Okay, super. Now the next one is amazing. Quand les poules auront des dents. Quand les poules auront des dents. Which means when hens have teeth. When hens have teeth. Okay? Un exemple. Il rangera sa chambre quand les poules auront des dents. Il rangera sa chambre quand les poules auront des dents. Which means in English, he'll tidy his room when hens have teeth. Okay? The actual meaning is never. It simply means never. Or in English, quite similar structure, when pigs fly. For a French perspective, it's when hens have teeth. Excellent. On est à la moitié, on continue avec le numéro 4. Avoir des fourmis dans les jambes. Avoir des fourmis dans les jambes. And that means to have ants in your legs. To have ants in your legs. Ok? Et un exemple, j'ai des fourmis dans les jambes après ce long voyage. J'ai des fourmis dans les jambes après ce long voyage. That means I have ants in my legs after this long trip. The actual meaning is to have pins and needles. You know the weird tingling feeling when your legs fall asleep? Well, in French we have ants in the legs. Okay, moving on to something difficult. Noyer le poisson. Noyer le poisson. To drown the fish. Which raises several questions here. Une phrase d'exemple. Le politicien a noyé le poisson pendant l'interview. The politician drowned the fish during the interview. The actual meaning is to avoid a subject or to confuse on purpose. So basically, practically, it's talking a whole lot without really saying anything relevant. So politicians can do this in every language, I'm sure. Drown the fish. Ok, on continue. L'avant-dernière, numéro 6. Faire l'autruche. Faire l'autruche. Short one. To do the ostrich. To do the ostrich. Un exemple. Il fait l'autruche au lieu de régler le problème. So he's doing the ostrich instead of solving the problem. What does it actually mean? It means to ignore a problem. To pretend something isn't happening. like the stereotypes that ostriches hide their heads in the sand. Which, by the way, isn't even true. And finally, numéro 7, se jeter dans la gueule du loup. Se jeter dans la gueule du loup. Literally translated, to throw oneself into the wolf's mouth. Ok? Un exemple. En acceptant ce travail, il s'est jeté dans la gueule du loup. By accepting this job, he threw himself into the wolf's mouth. So the actual meaning, to walk straight into danger, to put yourself in a very risky situation. So basically, French wolves do not just chase you, you volunteer. En anglais, there's a very similar one, to enter the lion's den. So in French, we throw ourselves in the mouth of the wolf. Voilà, c'est terminé pour cette vidéo. I think French idioms are one of the funniest parts of the language, because sometimes you might understand every single word of a phrase and still have no idea what people are talking about. So tell me in the comments down below which expression was your favorite, and also if you have another one involving animals in French that I did not mention in this video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. En attendant, à bientôt et bien sûr, happy coffee breaking!